listening to the BB Naija Lockdown Breakdown on Not Just OK Radio.
ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ ń bá wa sọ̀rọ̀ tó bá ń wá wa àwa fierce gan. Welcome.
Well, we're playing the thing now.
No, I actually thought he was going to lead in with it. That was what I thought he understood, but hey, apparently not. What was I gonna say? Welcome to the final show of the season. BB Naija Lockdown Breakdown with me, your favorite host, Afro7, co-host alongside me. If you say what's up.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the show. This is the final show of the season. It's been amazing having you guys tune in every Tuesday. And this is a lot. I'm going to miss you guys.
Yeah. I'm gonna miss you all too. This has been such a ride. I've had such a blast doing this, connected with so many of you guys, listening to your ideas, correcting any misconceptions, etc. It was beautiful. But hey, here we go. All good things must come to an end, even if only temporarily. You know where to catch us still. So we might have left the show, but we're still here. All right, let's just dive right into it. The finale happened on Sunday. The winner was crowned. We've known the winner for at least 8 out of the 10 weeks. The winner, and that's me being generous.
Yeah, that didn't come as a surprise to us at all.
Some people will say we've known the winner for 9 weeks and 4 days, but hey, Congratulations to Lekon.
Congratulations, Lekon.
Olamilekan Agbileshe, the 26-year-old from Lagos, won the show. He becomes the first winner from the southwest of Nigeria. So that sort of just crowns it all out. I think we've had all southern winners since BB Naija has been going on now, which isn't really surprising, but it'll be lovely to have a northern winner next season. Ooh, give us a nice surprise, Okay. But anyway, let's just dive right into it. The topics we've got for today are we're discussing the final 5 and the winner in particular. I think we've discussed Lekon already, but let's just talk about the final week in the house, how the guys, related with each other, what your impression was of this final 5, perhaps compared to last season's final 5 and the season before that. What did you think of it, Iffy?
I think that this was, for me, the best final 5, final week, as a matter of fact. I say best, I use best loosely because for different reasons. Because like in previous seasons, you see like in the final week, there's a lot of tension, between housemates because, you still have housemates from opposing teams, left behind in the final week. So even though like, okay, fine, like the show has come to an end and all of that, but they're still beefing, they're still squabbling, they're still like, like last season, for instance, we had Fred, Messi, Mike, Mashallah, and Sheyi, you could just sense that there was a bit of tension, even the year before as well, where we had Sisi, who wasn't a part of the quad, the quad being Tara, Lex, Nina, like all 4 of them, and then Sisi was like the outsider, in the show. So yeah, so this final week, I liked it because the tension was there was no tension, as a matter of fact. It was very subtle. It just seemed like like they were left behind. People that were left behind were like members of one family. That's how it seemed, even though they were not all friends from the beginning or even most of the show, but like at the end, it just seemed like everybody just came together. There was a lot of love. Like for me, that's something that stood out for me. There was a lot of love in the final week. They all seemed to like actually care about each other, look out for each other, just make sure that everybody was okay. And I think it was a dope final week. Yes.
Why are you clapping so much? What's going on?
I don't understand. I like your hand to clap. I'm excited.
Also, what I liked about the final week was that Nengi and Dora got a chance to clear the air and talk about some of the things that have been lingering between them. Now, Ozos fans kill me, honestly, don't kill me, because it's not just entirely his fault as well. She has some fault in this, but Ozo not being in the house freed Nengi up so very much, and it was a part of me was kind of sad that we didn't get this Nengi for at least a majority of the show. Do you understand? Like, she was free, she was light, she was like, look, she's one of my favorite housemates. I have a core 8, and she's definitely one of them. And it was just lovely for she and Dora to have the chance to talk and to clear the air, and that was my highlight of the week. Another one was was how close Nengi and Lekon got. That was like, wow, okay. You guys are like,
to be fair, like they had been close, but only in the dance hall, like you get like in the
bums a
party.
crotch. There were
Bum, you know
bums a
what I'm
crotch
saying?
close.
Like, it was just all about that the entire season from week one. Like, I remember being so like mortified. I'm like, what's going on here? Like, from the very first Saturday night party, and I mean, like, this thing lasted for 10 whole weeks. Like,
Yep.
we had Lekon literally plant himself on that bomb from the
No,
beginning
there was like
to the
there
end.
was like a magnet. As soon as Nengi sets her bum, then the magnet
That
would
was
just
it. It was a
call
wrap.
it would call Lekon and they would just gum. It would just
Yes,
gum
it was,
together.
but then to actually see them relate with each other, aside from
exactly.
that, was just
Exactly.
beautiful to see. It
Exactly.
was like a sibling. In fact, as a matter of fact, I think this was my favorite week of Lakon as well, because now it almost seemed like there was very minimal tension and everything, So I saw him just be a child. I knew he
Yes.
was
Like
immature and everything,
a
but then
last born. A
last born,
proper
exactly.
last
It was
born.
like the last born. I mean, he wasn't even the youngest in the house, like in the
No.
final week, But then he just seemed like the last born of the family. Like
Yep.
it was just amazing to watch. I really,
Them
really enjoyed
like
seeing that.
watching the
Yes,
girls tell him off, send him on errands, and then they'll cook for
yes,
him, and he will stress their
yes.
lives. Like,
Literally take care of him.
yeah.
Sorry, yes,
It was
beautiful to watch.
a lot of fun, a lot of fun. I really enjoyed the final five, and congratulations once again to Lekon, to Dorothy, to Nengi, to V, to Neil. Congratulations to all of them, and we hope they go on to do super amazing things. Because it's not easy now. You win the show, you don't win the show, the expectations are crazy. You've got some very uncouth people saying some wicked things to you that you're not popping. They'll compare you to other housemates. You internalize some of the pressure. So it was nice for me to see some of the housemates come out and say, hey, look, don't compare us. Our races are different. Our journeys are different. I think it was Tolani Badge that I saw in particular say this, like, look, just let us do our own thing at our own pace. Please don't compare us. It was also nice to hear Erica say, don't put pressure on us with this relationship thing. The more you do it, the harder it is. Let us just figure it out. It's beautiful. Now for the winner, you guys, icons adjacent. He's 26, but he's really young, and just let him just find himself. Same goes for Nengi. I know she's a really conventionally attractive woman, but like she said when she came on the show, she wants to be more than just about that.
Just her face and the body, yes.
So give them the room, give V the room to grow, give her the room to find some kind of softness, the softness she didn't display in the house. Give her a room to grow and to inhabit that kind of space, because there's a lot about her that's positive. I'll call it immaturity, the utter unfeelingness. I'll call it immaturity. And hopefully as she gets older as well, she improves. Give Neo a chance to find his niche in the world, because to me he seems a bit like a lost boy. Give him the chance to find his niche in the world. Please don't apply too much pressure on these people. They're also humans just like us. Please, please, and please. All right, let's move on to our first topic of the day, which is the high.
Second.
Oh, second, my bad. Which would be the high.
Your math. So I need to work on your math, okay? But go ahead.
Yeah. The high and the low lights of the season. Now, this is where we really need you guys to tell us what you think. So please use the hashtag BBNaijaLDBD. Tell us the highlights you had and the lowlights, the things they could do better, the things that they did so well this season you think they need to keep for next season. So Iffy, I will let you tell me your highs and lowlights of this season.
Okay, so how about I tell you one high, you tell me one highlight. I tell you
All
one low,
right.
you tell me one low light. Okay,
No worries. Let's go.
So my very first highlight of the season would be the selection of the housemates. I think that was like in fact, the most important part of the show, because I think that this is the first season that we've had such a selection, of housemates. Every single one of the 20 housemates that came into the show this year, they were all the bomb. Like, they gave us entertainment. They brought everything to the show. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, so the show really started with a bang. I'd like to say it should started with a bang. Like, that was for me like the very, very, very first highlight of the show. Like, just the selection of the housemates, the way they were, how exposed they were, how like a lot of them knew a lot about a lot of things, how entertaining they were, how like just different personalities, like, and every single one of them, like, there was no personality that, at least from the beginning, that seemed like, oh, this one is one to watch out for. No, everybody just really came in with a bang. Like, so we're like, oh wow, we have like 20 people we have to look out for. And I mean, so I think it really, really made for an exciting season. So yes, that's my number one highlight of the show.
My number one highlight of the show, well, actually, yours was my number one highlight of the show as well. But moving on from that, my second highlight of the show was the daybed. The daybed in the garden. I think that was an important and excellent addition to the show because it stopped the buildup of cliques for a long time. So you see people on the daybed, all the housemates go on the daybed, they all talk together, they all gist together, even if there's like two people talking more to each other, but they're all present and in the same space, which allow them to bond, allow them to be more entertaining, and really severely reduce the toxicity in the house. And I don't know if that was the intention, but I reckon that was excellent. And I really do hope that they keep a form of that, something that's that communal in the garden space next year. I think that was an excellent addition to the show. It seemed like a minor thing considering it's just furniture, but it made such a big difference. If you remember if you remember how it was last year, they really had like two kind of sleeper things, and then they had the bus, and then they had like
which could only take like 4 people at a time. So and then like the bus thingy, like that could only take 2 people. And then, you know, like, so they had like very minimal places where housemates could bond. So you could only take like you on your clique per time. You know? So I think that was also one of the things that increased like cliquism a lot in the last season.
No, I think it was the personality.
No. Wait, listen, like what I'm trying to say is that because like in this particular season, they were very like, even the seats on the side, okay, were like a lot. So even if you're sitting, 5 people can come and sit with you. Still,
the army truck near the army truck near the HOH lounge, it was large enough for more than 2 people. It was large enough to take,
exactly. Yeah, so like, I mean, it really reduced. I mean, like, I really think, I think it was a beautiful idea. Whoever came up with that, kudos to you. It was a good addition.
I mean, just the entire garden, actually, to have the table tennis place, to have that army section where they could sit along, not face to face, but along, you know, so like it was ergonomically, it was really excellent. And it made for like good TV, just to see them all out there bonded. Excellent. Kudos to you, the designers, whoever came up with that. So let's do some lowlights. My number one lowlight of the season, I know the one everyone expects us to say, and it's about the production and whatnot. Like, I think that really deserves closer examination, so we'll keep that till later. My number one low light of the season would have to be the Big Brother, the voice of the Big Brother. Now, perhaps this lends itself to blaming production, but I thought he was cold, he was mechanical. I mean, and you know, when the housemates, the final 5 are gathered in the lounge, and he said nice things about them, I posit that it was because of the pressure. It was because of the pressure on Twitter saying, hey, it's their final diary session, no personal words, nothing to them. And then it clicked to them that, oh, let Biggie say something to the housemates. Biggie was cold. Biggie was mechanical. Biggie was rude. Very rude. You know, that was my number one low light of the season. And they must look into that next year. What about you?
Okay, my low light of the season would have to be Erica's disqualification. Now, not the actual disqualification, the night before her disqualification, the events that led up to that, and then the actual event of seeing another person, you know, a housemate who otherwise was lovely, such a bubbly, amazing personality, who had, you know, clearly brought a lot of cheer and joy to the show, go down to that level. I think it was really something that, like, I don't know, I mean, like, I really tried to get that out of my mind, but yes, that was definitely like my lowest, actually, point of the show, you know, so yeah. I don't want to talk too much about it anyway, so yeah, but that was it.
Yeah, I mean, I think watching her disintegrate, and it was something another housemate made reference to, watching her disintegrate bit by bit. And I mean, the conclusion now in hindsight seemed inevitable, but it wasn't just that week or that day. It had been a build-up. And like I said to you the last time we discussed this, I think her relationship with Kid had a lot to do with it. Not blaming Kid, just the relationship, because she wasn't in the right mind space for that kind of entanglement at the time she got into it. And then there was a pressure of the thing with Lekon, and then the barrage of questions from Ibuka as well. So everything led to that point, and it was a very, very sad moment. Even though we saw it coming, it was still very sad. So we'll move on to another highlight. Another highlight that I've got is the housemate praise. I think it saddens me a little bit, no, a lot a bit, that Praise didn't stay longer on the show. I think Praise, as well as a couple other housemates that I'll talk about near the end, was a consummate Naija reality TV star. He brought everything: controversy, love, fights, creativity, ideas. You know, he brought everything you would want in a housemate. Praise possessed it, and it's an enduring mystery to me as to why he couldn't connect with fans. Because listen, the boy was good looking, he's tall, he can dance, he's got chat for days, he's funny, he's controversial. So all the things you think you Nigerians said Africans wanted to see in a housemate, this boy had it in oodles, but he just couldn't connect. So that was really sad for me to see him leave so soon in the game. Right. So we'll move back to you with your highlight now.
My highlight would be, I was actually going to talk about what would my next highlight be? Okay, just see, go ahead. I think I just have like a mental page right now.
That's fine. Another highlight that I've got, this is a super highlight, like a super duper highlight, guys. So Big Brother this year, the relationship between all of the housemates, but in particular, the male housemate, was far ahead of where Nigeria is as a country in general. The ease with which they related to each other physically, in particular, they were so comfortable around each other physically. A hug, a touch, a head rub, a shoulder massage, whatever it was. You'd be sitting on the day bed, another male housemate will come and rest his leg near this one's thighs, and no one had an issue, you know, just to see how comfortable men could be around each other. This one wearing bum shorts up and down, and nobody said any derogatory remarks about it. Like, it was really beautiful to see. You know, it was really, really nice to see. And it sounds like a minor thing, but if you know how suspicious Nigerians can be of like men being so physically affectionate, even though it was our culture before, but now it isn't. And if you know how suspicious people can be of men like that, being like that with each other, it was beautiful to see the housemates just comfortable without a care in the world in each other's company on a physical level. You know, all of them were like that. The women were like that. The men were like that. It was beautiful to watch. Yeah, it was beautiful to watch.
Okay. So to my next highlight, that would be the way the men served the women this season.
Yeah.
I think that's like, for me, like one of the biggest things that happened this season. You know, we had almost all the guys, except for the ones who didn't know how to cook, who were cooking, cleaning, you know, like
Lekon.
Yes, no, except for Lekon, yes, you know, who couldn't just do anything to save his life, my God, you know. But then aside from that, all the other housemates, you know, were like, the men were constantly, you know, doing things for the women, cleaning, cooking, washing, everything that they had to do. Like, they were literal queens this season. So yes, that was one of my highlights of the season.
From
just watching the guys be like that, you know, like with no shame in the world. Like, I mean, they were just doing it. They didn't feel judged. Nobody was judging them. Even the women as well. Most of the time, you know, were obviously like appreciative of that, you know, but then like they owned it. Like, they were like queens, and these guys were here to serve us. So yes, it was very good to see, you know, like, you know, in previous seasons, you will see the girls are the ones who will do all the cooking. As a matter of fact, like when they had to share tasks, where they had to cook, the guys would go like, oh, so you guys will now cook, and then we will now come in and do, you know. So I'm like, yo, who says it? You know, so I really like that narrative was changed, and it was so organic. It wasn't forced. So yes, kudos to all the guys this season. I think they did amazing. Like, you know, I think it was dope, really.
Yeah, from cooking food to washing underwear, they didn't care. They did it all.
You know,
even the one who couldn't cook, they sent him on errands to wash makeup brushes, to go and find shoes, to go and do this one. So everybody chipped in.
Yes, all the guys in that house, they were buckling shoes this season, like, yo,
zipping dresses,
every party, and zipping dresses, and the one that were carrying shoes. OTTTTTT will never wear her own shoes. So her shoes are more like, I mean, handbags or purses, you know. So she would just get dressed and then carry her shoes, and it was just really beautiful to see.
It was,
you know,
it
so
was,
yes, I liked it.
It was dope. It was super, super dope. Okay, so now let's move on to a low light. Another low light for me was, so this one is difficult because I don't want to call him out of his name, because I don't know how much he personally, in his own personal capacity, I don't know how much control he has over what he says on Sundays. But Ebuka's performance this season left a lot to be desired. Now, let me couch this properly, because he's someone I really admire. Generally, I love the way he goes out of his way for the housemates once they're out of the house. I love how he lends his time, his platform to the housemates. I mean, just like a couple of weeks ago, I saw him advertising Teddy A's casual wear Like just that kind of love. Him purchasing paintings from Toby, the housemates want to do a performance, Ebuka shows up. So the kind of love and time he has for the housemates really busts my head, honestly, because I know that they're not paying him for these things. He's doing it because, as per Big Bro, he's really there for them, and he wants them to shine.
I mean, like, since they can see Big Brother, Ebuka is like the big brother that they can see.
Exactly. However, this season, I'm going to put the blame on production. I'm going to put the blame on production because Ebuka has been a housemate, and I doubt if it were up to him, he would do the housemates like that. Production this season needs to do better by Ebuka. Let me put it that way. They need to not let him go out there on stage and say the things that A, didn't happen, B, misconstrue what did happen, and C, maybe unwittingly or wittingly exaggerate things that happened. That's not good. It's not a good look, and it affects housemates' game to no end. It affected Dora. It affected Erica. It affected Dora for negative and positive. We'll talk about that later if you please remind me. It affected Dora. It affected Erica. It affected Tolani Badge. It affected Ozo. It affected Nengi. We like Ebuka. Ebuka is our chief R&D. Do you know what I mean? Like, if he does well, we will be proud of him. Production, really, please don't let him go out there and say things that didn't happen or misconstrue things that did, because now you have fans all season calling him a liar because of the thing he said that Dorothy did not say, that he says she said, calling him a liar to the point where he had to defend himself to Dorothy yesterday. Because she wasn't pleased by it, and it affected the kind of game she played in the long run to her advantage in some respects, but that was a major low light for me, I must say.
Okay. Another low light for me would be lack of content. It just seemed like, the housemates were thrown into the house. As a matter of fact, these housemates carried that entire show on their backs.
They did.
It didn't seem like the production had any actual plans for them, minus sponsored tasks. That did my head in so much because, like, from the beginning, it was just one sponsored task after the other. I mean, I can go back to Bisola's season and tell you the tasks that stood out for me. I can go back to Pepper Them and tell you Double Wahala and tell you the tasks that stood out for me. I can go back to Pepper Them, but for this season, it's nothing. It's nothing. The ones that we even can hold on to, the one drama where Erica and Prince played the lead role, where there were I'm sorry, and Neo was also like a lead in that drama, and then one other one like that, that was it. Imagine like an entire season that was ordinarily supposed to be like the most exciting, because this housemate, so it's almost like the housemate's potential weren't really fully explored.
They weren't maximized at all.
They weren't maximized at all. It's almost like the only thing that it was just every day they'll come and do commercials for one brand or commercials for another brand, singing or dancing. So if you can't sing and you can't dance, then there's really nothing else there for you to pick up or to get out of it. So no, that was really, really, really poor this season. I mean, like, because we've had in previous seasons. I mean, like, some people argued on the timeline that it was because of Corona. No, the same way the sponsors brought their props in and all of that, for their own tasks. I think that they could have done better. So I think it was just negligence on the part of production. They could have definitely done better by the housemates. So yes, that was another low point for me. This season.
Just to expand on that, I don't know if it was negligence or just sheer laziness and greed, because at the point where it became apparent that they could just outsource all the content to the sponsors, they just basically removed their hands. And we have a comment on Twitter to this same extent. Pet Project says major lowlight was Biggie having no fun tasks, turning the housemates to advertising amateurs. They created games themselves but still didn't get any support. For example, they should have gotten water guns. Anyway, Biggie has 1 year to research tasks for 2021. I wouldn't hold my breath, because then you might die, And to me says the co-host can benefit from taking a breather to collect their thoughts. She speaks really fast and breaks here and there, and that can be really good for effects. Yeah, Iffy, slow down.
Say that again.
They want you to slow down. Because I listen to Iffy so often.
I'm going to talk so much slower. Is that slow enough for you?
Yeah, not quite that
that's
slow.
A joke. I hear you.
We have another comment from Bamtastic. Production needs to fix up. Ibuka was used as an agent of confusion. It hurt the game of so many housemates. It was not fair. Housemates have to carry those things with them long after the show is over. Bamtastic, you are spot on. And this is exactly what we've been saying week after week after week after week. So I'm glad that other people notice and they also want it to change. So hopefully they will listen to us. Ify, do we have any YouTube comments?
Yes. Okay. So, yes, we have a few comments here. So, sorry, this keeps refreshing. Katrina's booty diamond encrusted says, I think it's more than immaturity for V. There is a deeper seated meanness that she needs to work through. If T-Baj and Erica broke their legs, you wouldn't care? It's more than one-eyedness. Okay. Just being 7 says her low lights would be tech, sound, the diary room not being soundproof, the jacuzzi not working, the sponsor tasks, coverage. They have blind spots in the house where you are supposed to have no place to hide. And the heavy hand with which they meddled in the organic content of the show. Big Brother and why can't they focus the cameras? Soft party coverage, following stories from, okay, so I think I kind of missed this, from BEG, middle and end. Yeah. So then your low lights continued. Your house is a character, treat it right.
Yes, yes, yes. I completely agree with that. Another low light for me would be the punishment. The punishment. I don't know if it's deliberate on their part to just drive the drama or the anticipation or the anxiety of the viewers and the housemates. But the strike issuance, apart from it being so arbitrary and unfair, was just so ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous. These are not children. These are adults. And adults in such a controlled environment cannot always toe the right line. Okay, even as they want to, because obviously it's a massive opportunity for them and nobody in their right mind will want to mess it up wantonly. Okay, but issuing strikes for such things as whispering, okay, fine, let's even accept the whispering because you issued a general warning. Oh yeah, anybody who breaks the rules after the general warning will get a strike, but let that be uniform. And also, this I think is super important, let us the viewers be aware of what infringement carries what punishment. Maybe they need to have a post-show discussion or something, because it really, really depresses our trust in the show. That's something they need to bear in mind. The issuance of strike ruins the entertainment for the viewers because the housemates get too careful. It's after all a study of human behavior as well. As well as being entertainment, it's also a study of human behavior. Life will issue you strikes in the real world, but the cameras aren't there to see it. You know, some strikes you never come back from. Maybe stay safe and healthy in these corona times. But in that house, when you issue a strike and then you get another one, the housemates become robots. It messes with them mentally, psychologically. Like, let's just be careful. We don't want a situation where the housemates are straight-laced and boring because they're afraid of receiving a third strike. We can be more creative with the punishments. Please pick beans.
Just constructive punishments, really. Like, there's so much the housemates can do, you know, that isn't like, I mean, if you can't go so heavy-handed on human beings, adults, as a matter of fact, you know. So I think, yes, I think we've talked about this previously on the show as well. You know, they need to review like their rule book. They need to review the offenses that are punishable by strikes and punishable by, you know, other forms of punishment. I mean, striking cannot be the only form of punishment now.
Exactly.
It's either you're being warned, your very final and serious warning, or then you're being issued a strike. So I think that, for instance, whispering shouldn't be an offense punishable by a strike. It should be an offense punishable by something else, and then making them probably, like, for instance, making them be like the prefect to make sure that everybody's wearing their mic.
Exactly.
So if anybody else, you know, gets a microphone infringement, they get a deduction from their own wallets or something like that. So yes, I think that they have to come up with more creative ways to discipline the housemates. You know, instead of just being so, you know, it really, really did take a lot of fun out of the show this season. The strikes, that is.
It really, really, really did. And we have a comment from Abelame. It says, the positive side of this sponsored task is that it enables the housemates to get some cash in their pockets. I remember the major criticism on the previous shows was that the winner gets all model they were doing. No one gets a dime except the winner. Yeah, that's true, but come on, man. We like, please, really, honestly and truly, we already subjected to 5 minutes adverts in between, anytime they go on ad breaks, 5 minutes adverts, and then the show is oriented around sponsored tasks. That's what does that really tell you apart from housemates can sing or dance? How does that let you into
nothing else really
into
nothing
the
else.
into the intrigues of the show, the relationships on the show? It doesn't do anything. It's nice to watch, to hear them sing once or twice, but almost every day out of the week,
Every
as soon
day
as
they
it
were
started,
singing. Yep, that's true.
it's
Okay,
it's
so I'd
it's
like to
it's
take
mad.
some more comments on YouTube. Okay, Jojo Med says Lowlights will be shaking tables with wrong information, issuing of strikes of punishment worthy offenses, and too many sponsored tasks. Yes, Jojo Med, that is what we have been about on the show. We've talked about that just now. And then we have Titilayo says, I keep comparing the BB Africa. I doubt that BBA had so much sponsored tasks. They had actual tasks with content from production. Color Work said Greed will not allow them to do this, but they need to take a break for a year or two to craft a new show. Katrina's Booty says one major highlight, low light, not being privy to the nomination process
Oh
live
my God, we're
earlier
getting
in
to
the
that.
game.
We're getting to
Yes,
that one.
we had to wait for the website to upload after the show. I completely agree.
We need to talk about that one. But before we do, let me quickly take a comment from Matt Agu. She says, if whispering is already codified as a strikable offense, where is the problem? It's not so much that it's codified as a strikable offense, that's fine, but then apply the punishment evenly if it must be applied at all. So if
Mm-hmm.
you whisper, Big Brother will strike you like thunder, straight up, or lightning, whichever one it is. Don't strike some people for allowing themselves to be whispered to, and somebody else allows himself to be whispered to, and you ignore it like a rumor. Like, no, if you're gonna
Mm-hmm.
do it, you have to do it evenly and across the board. So it's fair all around. And if you don't apply it evenly, let the viewers know why. Even if it's on your website, let us understand why this offense warranted a strike and an analogous
Another
offense
similar
warranted
offense, yes.
nothing. No, that's not
Mm-hmm.
acceptable to
Mm-hmm.
me. It's not acceptable. And look, I'm in the UK and I watch the show, but I put my money in the show as well. So I have a say. I'm talking, because I'm affected by, if you're R&D, you love the show. You want the show to be enjoyable and sexy. This one, may God help us.
May
Yes.
God help us. So.
like the comments on YouTube said just now, one of the most fundamental errors of this season. Like, you guys, listen, I'm very intense when it comes to Big Brother, right? But for me, I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say that the nomination process was an utter mess, and a massive demerit, and even massiver low light of the season. And then joined to that was their failure for 2 weeks to ask the housemates why they nominated who they nominated. Like,
Mm-hmm.
this is such a fundamental error that it makes no sense. I can't even
It makes
reason it
no
from any
sense at
angle.
all. Tola, listen, yeah, like first of all, we've missed the entire process, okay? And then, I mean, because if we watch the housemates do the nominations live and all of that as we had previous seasons, okay, at least we have an idea, who, because I mean, like we're watching the show, so we know who's so we're kind of like looking out for who's going to nominate who. So these two people fought yesterday. Let's see whether they nominate each other, and that was taken away from us.
It
Now, then
was.
I had the other part of it that was now like, okay, so they now choose who gets evicted instantly. Okay. That was also taken away from us because, we don't get to watch it live. Then imagine that we don't even get to hear the reasons why these people were nominated or whatever. I think that was like the worst thing that, happened with the whole nominations, evictions process. It was, I don't know if it was an omission, but whatever it is, it was a very big blunder, I must say.
Truly, they just didn't think that one through at all. Like, the payoff being the suspense of who the housemates chose was not worth it. It wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth it to see live, to feel the tension live, or seeing housemates go into that diary booth and nominate a fellow housemate, or to choose to kick a fellow housemate out. And then to add to that, for the first season since I've been watching Big Brother, a head of house decided who should leave and we, the viewers, were none the wiser. Do you think it's everybody who watches the live show on Sunday that will now run to the website to see why,
to go and start looking,
to see that Waya was the one that chose praise over Wathoni? That was such a monumental a piece of drama that
because it never happened before.
It never happened before.
So this was like the first time it was happening on, at least for as far as I remember, that there was an actual tiebreaker, and then the head of house had to make a decision, and guess what? We weren't shown. As a matter of fact, it's people who then went, because not everybody, even the people who are online and all of that, nobody has the time to keep going to Scouts or score the
and we were confused for a while. People were counting the votes and saying, how comes this happened? How comes? And then they had to update and re-update. Like, the payoff was not worth it. It wasn't worth it. That was a mess. It was an utter mess. It took away from me. It took away so much from the show. It took away understanding the dynamics of certain relationships. For example, Lakon and Dora's relationship is still a mystery to most of the people who watch the show. We know that they have a siblingship, kind of, right? But what we don't know is why they kept nominating each other, when it was apparent, at least to me, that there was a clear liking, there was a clear fondness for each other, right? Till today, we don't know, because Big Brother failed in his primary duty, because nominations is one of the primary duties of Big Brother. I am privy to the UK franchise. Nominations was one of the primary elements of the show. And they robbed us of that. And whatever they put in its place was just not worth it. It was not a good payoff. Please and please and please help us to bring back the old nominations. I mean, I think one of the highlights is that it saved some characters. But when I look at it overall, I don't think it was worth it. I just don't think it was worth it, honestly speaking. Like, I would rather Praise had stayed in the house longer over some housemates. I'm not naming any housemates because they all have their own fans, but personally, such an interesting character like Praise, who was at the center of several relationships, should not have left so early. But hey, they kicked him out, and that was that. Kaisha lost her place, even though she wasn't the least voted for. Lilo lost her place, even though she wasn't the least voted for. So I don't know.
I mean, both of them were the top of the bottom four,
right?
And then they had to go because the housemates have to then decide who stays or who goes. So yes, I think that was really like no, it didn't quite work for me. The first time, okay. But then after that first time, it stopped being cute. Like, what's really going on? So, I mean, look at someone like Katrina's character. I think that's also someone who would have been interesting to see, her like
she
for longer.
She left so soon. So
soon.
Like,
I memean, someone with her character. Imagine that. Just because, I mean, she had fights with everybody. I think she had like 12 nominations on that day.
Yeah.
So, I mean, which means that, do you get what I'm trying to say? So it's like, so if you don't like you, it doesn't matter if you're the best player in the game or whatever, you're going home, I mean, it would be nice to nominate them, throw them out to the viewers, let the viewers then decide who they want to see on the show or not. So at the end of the day, as much as it was, yes, do you get what I'm trying to say? So it makes sense, but not to make sense, if you get what I'm trying to say, like, yes, so that's it.
I mean, some people liked it, I guess. Some people liked it. I'm in the minority. I don't like it. I don't think the payoff was worth it at all. Pet Project says Biggie was a contract staff this season, went on leave at some point, ran only a few diary sessions, didn't prepare a real question for the sessions, couldn't probe housemates' responses. Yeah, listen, trust me, you don't even know how that thing got my goat. Housemates will be going through something. Someone will say, "Oh, Biggie, my head is about to fall off my neck." Biggie will say, "This is the end of your diary session." Like, yo,
it was totally unfeeling. Like, I'm like, come on. Housemates will say, "Oh, we need to talk to someone." It would. This is the end of your diary session, and that's that. Housemates had some housemates had health needs. And you see how long it took for them to finally respond to them. I mean, for a show like this, you would think that they would have like standby medical people or standby. I mean, maybe Biggie decided to go on as Pet Project said, go on his leave in the middle of the show. In fact, show never really to pick up like that. So Oga carry back, say they travel, go where they go.
No, that thing it gets another reason.
That thing gets story when they never tell us about.
It get leg inside. Day. Definitely.
Only for him to now go. Meanwhile, when you were leaving, you did not prepare the children that you left at home. You did not tell them anything, nothing. All he said was, "Oh, Big Brother is going on a vacation, and then when I return, I'm going to bring back a gift.
Which vacation?
I'm going to bring a gift for you."
In the middle of COVID.
Typical weekend. Yes, in the middle of COVID, though. The guy not even. The guy not even tell her. Maybe the guy said, "Don't go catch COVID." You don't know, but I mean, you can carry bag. Say they travel in the middle of COVID. Now went to after traveling, he now came back to punish the person, the oldest child he left at home. He now came back to typical wicked Nigerian parents.
Honestly,
Biggie, that was totally uncool.
And which gift did he even bring for them?
He did not bring anything. He did not bring any gift. So which gift? Meanwhile, the boy carried out his task perfectly. Another thing again, they failed to do this season, as one of the comments on YouTube, they said they had jokers this season. That was Saudatu Mohammed said they had jokers this season. Housemates that would have delivered secret tasks smoothly. Neo praised Kidwire Nengi.
Honestly.
They were bare lazy this season. Yes, I completely agree with you.
Completely lazy. Completely.
Housemates had to start inventing games for themselves. You see the whole pop, like the ball they used to pop on the table to pop in the cup. That was totally their own doing. You see, when Neo went and
cops and robbers. Cops and robbers.
Robbers they did hide and seek. Oh, Erica, I am calling you, Erica.
Yeah, and that center thing they did, come on, they really tried. To be honest, one of our commenters referred to it when it was apparent to them that Neo could pull off that heist perfectly. Something should have clicked. Like, okay, we can make this guy. We can give him a secret task
to carry out. Yes.
Nothing. They were just looking. They were just looking at them.
They just look us like TV. As we take the watch, and so they take the watch too. Nothing came out of it. Like, I'm telling you, like the housemates were giving them a lot of ideas. So you would think that, okay, maybe for the Saturday night tasks, they would then, Friday, I keep saying Saturday night, Friday night tasks, that they will come with something fresh, something new. It's to be carrying a bunch of plantain on their head, or going to market, carrying pepper and tomatoes. So no. It was totally terrible.
Bamtastic says they need to hire better writers for their task briefs. They were subpar, often confusing. Don't get me started on the instructions for the arena games. Yep, the instructions for the arena games was at least 4 times longer than the actual length of the game. That's just a joke. Abby Bimyonce says, I actually prefer the eviction process where all of them were up. The con was that the housemates had the power to save. Okay, if all of them were up, then let the least voters ones just carry their kaya and come up.
And be going, Abby.
And come out from the house.
Yes, that would have been fair,
Martagu says, OMG, the medical attention gaff was a huge annoyance for me. I was so upset. From Erica in the first week to Lakon in the last. I was pissed. Production must do better. Oluwa on guard, CCS says, talking about the nominations, someone like Dora, Nengi, and Ozo would have left earlier if we had that old style. This nomination did more good than harm.
Well, like we know, it has its pros and cons, but I think the cons far outweigh the pros. So
yeah,
that's for me.
I don't agree that Dora, Nengyo, and Ozo would have left earlier. Those 3
they would have been up a lot, but no,
they never saw the bottom 4, and also it would have built certain bases. Like imagine if someone like Nengi was up. I'm not saying some housemates deserve bases than others, but I'm just saying imagine if someone like Nengi was up and up and up. See, her army will be ridiculous by now. Do you know what I mean? Because they would have arisen for her week after week after week. That's just, Martagu says,
so
also,
sorry to cut you short.
Also, why was there a TV in the head of house lounge? It was for mirror purposes now. Just, to be looking at yourself and seeing what's going on. All right.
So another highlight for me this season would be the method with which they chose the head of house. So that would be the head of house task.
I love that.
I loved it so much. Yes, that was like brilliant. Like, I think that was like one of the most brilliant inventions this season. It was fair. It was anybody's game. So if luck was on your side, then it was going to be you. But yes, I think it was the most interesting thing that happened this season. That's the way the head of house. Yeah. So it was anybody's game. Could be the girl today. Could be a boy tomorrow. So unlike past seasons where it had to be either intellectual or it had to be physical, which means that the boys would then get to win until they now do one intellectual task, then the girls probably stand a chance. And then maybe one girl, will now win once and then go back again to it being an all boys all guys game. So yes, I really enjoyed it. That was another highlight for me.
That's how Esther won her head of houseship last season. I think she was
twice.
Yeah, until Mercy was co-HOH, I think she was probably the only female head of house. Or was Cindy Lou the head of house once?
Coffee.
Oh yes, how could I forget?
Coffee. How can you forget coffee?
A cup
Good
of coffee.
morning.
The most
Good
annoying head of house
morning.
ever.
No, that's
Yes,
me.
yes.
Good morning.
But no, I think the way they chose the head of house was definitely dope. It was fair. And shout out to Nengi. Shout out to Nengi for giving them that little tactic that they all use. But please, next season, tell them to shush. You
Hush
must
your
read.
mouth.
You
Play
must
your
read
game.
your number by yourself. We don't want to hear anything. And also, why did they place that chest in the middle of the big board? What did the chest stand for? Because Ozo touched the
There was
chest once.
No, but Ozo didn't have the key to the chest. Okay.
The kid
So
no
for
day
you-
now.
The kid did now.
Where he
The
dey?
kid did now. He did for the front side now. You know what I'm saying? You go first get the key. So the
No,
thing is, if
Big
you land
Brother.
on the key,
No. Big Brother said, Ozo, congratulations for being the first housemates to open the chest. He congratulated him like that.
You not open the thing, lie. You not open anything.
Iffy, that is what Biggie said to
Listen,
him.
help us settle this matter. He does not open the chest. Please,
He didn't open it physically. But when
I
Biggie
know.
congratulated
Did he get
him,
the key?
no, you don't listen to what I'm saying to you. When Biggie
hearing you
congratulated him, he said, "Congratulations for being the first housemate to open the chest." Now, touching it is opening it. What was inside it was a mystery. Until today, we don't know what's in there inside that box, because we were speculating that maybe immunity, maybe you have the Joker card to save and replace. Nothing. They didn't address it again. There was no extra key anywhere. To touch it was to
let me tell you what me I remember from the show. Yeah,
go on.
Now, one of the numbers had a key. Okay, then if you land on that number, you have the key to open that chest. So if you land on the number, you get the key. Then if you land on the chest, then you can open it. So if you land on the chest without opening, without the key to open the chest, please, this thing, did I dream this thing? People should help me now.
No, you dreamt it. You dreamt it.
It's not true. I couldn't have dreamt it.
I promise you dreamt it. Rhodesian Rebel says, opening the chest, move the player to number 28. Oh, is that so? Okay.
Ozok got the key on place 12. So if you have the key from place 12, then okay. So we are both right somehow. Let me explain to you how we're both right. You're saying there was no key. Me, I'm saying there was a key. That means Ozok got the key and he landed on the chest.
Mm-hmm.
So okay. So how come we didn't know what was inside the chest now?
What's in there inside the box?
Okay, that one we knock on. Okay, thank you very much, guys, for resolving this.
Maybe it's a parking garage for his car. It could be. It could be. It could very well be.
Well, it could very well be,
You never know. It could very, very, very well be, So you guys, this season has been a season of many, 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 many lowlights, but some of the highlights were spectacular. I think some of the chemistry between the ships. I mean, my favorite ship, Lyric, they had amazing chemistry, but they got boring very quickly. Erica and Kid, they had spectacular chemistry, until obviously Erica has to leave the house. V and Neo, in the beginning, they were so sexy to watch, and then they got a bit, toxic to each other, and that stopped being too sexy. But yeah, that was, a lot of high and low lights, so let's move on to
fights in the house. No, the fights in the house. It's happened.
No, go on.
Okay. So my favorite fight of all time would be the fight between Lucy and Nengi. The fight between Lucy and Nengi, like each time I remember it, I just roll and laugh and laugh and laugh.
That Lucy don't get joy.
The girl don't just get joy at all. At all. The girl, she don't just get joy, But like the things that she said, I think we still make jokes about it on Twitter today, like when she said, that she has the perfect figure 8. The only difference, so just a little tummy. The only thing is just her stomach is, because Nengi has a flat tummy, flatter than her own. Just Nengi's shape is just a little bit, this was in the middle of a fight, so a little bit better than her own shape. But if not, oh my goodness, I think that was like really hilarious, But then I really hated, what I hated was how that fight affected Nengi, I hated I hated that.
Baby Conde wear full pajamas.
Let's happen now.
Lucy.
Only for this same Lucy, people, my people. This same Lucy, after harassing my girl Nengi, now went the same thing that Nengi was doing that she was talking about. No one when Lucy not do. but
No.
that's okay.
Lucy, where Patago Saturday night party.
go party.
Full pata she wore to the Saturday night party. I was like, this baby, what's going on?
So the fights. But I mean, like, to be fair, like, oh, another thing that happened. You know that there was no time, like the guys never fight, or did anybody fight? Did any two guys fight each other? No, they never fought. Yes. So like the guys never fought, and I mean, like, even the situations that sort of warranted for the guys to beat each other, nope, they were cool with each other.
I think production tries to engineer a fight by confronting Brighto about what he said about Neo. That to me was a low light. Listen, listeners, please comment on this. I really want, so I know that it's not just me. Quoting what the housemates said to the housemates on Sunday, to me, is a major no-no, and by God's grace must never happen again. They wanted Bryce and Neo to fight because, you know, Neo's got a loud personality, but he's a softie. He's got a loud, so I think they imagined that he would be so angry with Bright and will finally get a confrontation. What did they do? These male housemates, they carry each other, go corner, go discuss.
Go corner, they even go play table tennis now for outside. Did you forget? They were playing outside now, and they were talking about it as they were playing. I'm like, Biggie, this one. Big Neo and Brighto 1, Biggie 0.
They must have been so upset, like no fights, you know. It was quite something. But let's quickly move on. I think we're all by now aware of the high and the low lights, you know. And if you're a lover of the show, let's just hope that they listen to us and they fix some of these things for the next season. No, they're not going to take a year off. Don't fool yourself. Influencers. We want to talk about influencers really quickly for like 5 minutes. Influencers, an absolute must. If you want to be a Big Brother Naija contestant, you must be super prepared before the show. Trust me. The housemates that weren't prepared, Eric, Tochi, it was super obvious because their social media numbers are still languishing, 1, and 2, they were not able to connect with the viewers outside because the game is played outside as well as inside. You need people who are social media savvy on your team. Ozo had Noble Igwe, had the light-skinned influencer whose name really escapes him. Please help me with his name.
Tweet Oracle.
Ozo had Noble Tweet Oracle. Lakon had an actress who was social media savvy. Her numbers were really high by the time she took on his gig. Erica had Didi, who's R&D royalty. You know, a few of them had well-known handlers or well-known people who then hopped on board for them as the show progressed. Uti lent his voice to Erica. I don't think that was for good, but hey, Sam Clef lent his voice to Lakon. That was definitely not for good in my own opinion. So if, in your opinions, listeners, do you think the heavy presence of obvious influencers as part of this game is a good thing? Some of you accuse me of being an influencer. Look, I have never, ever, ever, ever taken a dime or taken the promise of a dime on behalf of any housemates. I tweet for myself and myself alone. Take that to the bank. Okay. So do you think that the presence of influencers in this game is a good or bad thing, Iffy?
Well, I think it has its good and bad sides as well, because it's almost like, you know, the housemate is then being judged by multiple parameters. So it's not just the game that you're playing in the house, it's also the way your influencer is conducting his or herself outside of the house. Okay. So you have if you're for instance now, I mean, just that Lakon's own Lakon had a lot of people supporting him for it. I want to use Sam Clef as an example. That guy has chatted so much shit, like it's unbelievable. Do you understand? Like the thing that he has said, you know, so imagine if it was dependent on him for Lakon to make any sort of progress or anything, you know. He never has anything positive to say. He never has, I mean, this guy, do you understand? So sexist. And the interesting thing about this is that the housemates themselves are super cool people. Honestly. Okay? So imagine you now, you're your own, playing your own game to the best of your ability, and then you have someone who's supporting you on the outside who isn't just doing who isn't a people's person, okay? And who isn't doing a good job of representing you.
Who can't read the mood.
Yes, you can't read the mood. So it's almost like, you know, you're just there being chilled, super chilled, laid back and everything. And then you have someone who's an Indaboski on the outside supporting you. Or even
a lazy influencer.
Exactly.
Or a lazy handler, you know.
Who doesn't post anything. There are people that this season, and I'm going to call names, that, you know, their pages were on point, back to back to back. Like, yo, if you miss anything, any presentation or whatever, just go to their page. You'll see that they
Me,
posted
I
it
will
there.
call names. Ozo, Lekon, Nengi, Dora. I will go to the page. Erica, I'll go to the page and I'll see what they did that day if I ever missed. I didn't miss, but if I ever missed, I will go there.
Me, I don't want them to drag my people, though. That's why I'm not calling names.
It will
So.
be there ping for me to see.
But yes, like those people that you just mentioned, the influencers did an amazing job of presenting them. Sometimes we didn't agree. Like, I mean, people obviously from maybe opposing teams or just general bystanders, we didn't quite agree with their methods or the things that they said. But I think overall, they were top representatives for their people.
Having an influencer is necessary to go far or to even make your face known?
When you say influencer, I think having a team, that would be like your social media team. Okay. When you say influencer, I'm talking about
influencer is what I mean.
I don't think it's necessary, to be fair. I don't think it's necessary because it's not about how big the one person's voice is. It's about having a team of people who generally know what to do. Like, so when they're driving for votes, Noble is a spectacular influencer, by the way. He's a spectacular representative of Ozo. So I'm going to use Noble. He did an amazing job representing Ozo. But then, like, when you ask, no one spoke about it before. I don't really remember any other person off the top of my head who was as vocal, who was as pushing, Noble was begging for votes. Noble was begging people. Noble, of course, we all have our the times when he went up and everything, which is absolutely okay. Like we all do, But I'm just saying, as far as being the influencer representing Ozo he was spectacular. Okay, so now, how many people can afford to have that? So I don't think I want to have it as a standard, by the way. And I don't think it's also very necessary because if you see other people had their own influence as well, I know to see I'm like that. You get the one person I did that stood up for me was this person, and then every other person if they had I don't know, But then I'm just saying that it was good to know that they had. So having a team for me, sort of supersedes having an influencer and one influencer or whatever. Just having a team of people who are going to be handling your social media. That's your Twitter, your Instagram, your Facebook, or whatever it is. Engaging people. Trying to be like, because sometimes the housemate does something in the house, and viewers are so enraged about it. But then the way the handlers, manage the situation on the outside also helps to quell the situation. So it's almost like, okay, oh yeah, sorry, For instance, I'm not like a member of anybody's team or anything, but I'm just saying that I know the times when my faves, had done something or I was anticipating them to do something, and I'll be like, hey, sorry, you're making an vex. So I know that this night is going to be it, I'm apologizing on behalf of this. But so it kind of like took the tension away. It kind of like took attention away from the person as well who I was apologizing on her behalf. So I think setting up a team. So when they say my team, I think that's important now because of the way social media has gone. It's not like I think we had this conversation before about T-Boss. So like in their time, we don't have as much exposure as we have now with regards to social media. Twitter wasn't popping then the way it is popping now. We have all manners of people, on Twitter now. So we have more access, more information, unlike before. So now I think the only way you can survive or you can make a mark in this age of social media would be to also have like social media handlers who are going to represent you in your absence.
I think what you said about the team is definitely more important than having influencers. I think you need a team that understands social media, for example, that understands that Twitter is far more interactive than Instagram. To understand that you can better craft an image on Instagram than you can on Twitter, for example. Twitter, I think, is best to be active whilst being passive. Instagram, I think, is best to be active. So you need to understand the dynamics of the different social mediums that you're on and to do the best job. And the best job, undoubtedly for me this season, was by Lacon's team. They were not a professional social media influencing outfit. But as the show grew, he had organic people coming to his team just from being his fans. There's one guy I must shout out in particular, Too Much Akoni. He was just an icon. But he did such a stellar job that people started thinking this boy works for Lekon actually because he represented the guy so well. So if you can find people who understand how these social mediums work and they can represent you in a positive light, they can carry a conversation and they can show you even when you make mistakes, they can maybe explain it whilst not shalaing too much, So, Ozo was following Nengi about, we're sorry. You know, he's a loyal guy, and you know, when once he gets comfortable with someone, he likes to be around that person. You know, you just you reshift the conversation, you reframe the conversation in a way that's positive, and you cause people to think of an angle they might not have appreciated, whilst not being defensive. I think that's super important. So now we'll go to some comments. Marta.
Hey, OVA. Yes, we can hear you.
You can hear me. All right. So shout out to the R&D. As I was saying, Facebook is very key, right? A lot of Nigerians on Facebook, but people tend to not realize it. Facebook is probably even bigger than Twitter and Instagram when it comes to Nigerian listeners.
It's not probably.
You get.
It is.
It's big. It's a big deal. Whenever I log on to the Not Just Okay, like let's say for every 10 interactions we have on Twitter and Instagram, we probably have like 50, 60 on Facebook, right? So Nigerians are very active there. I think people should pay more attention to that. Maybe future housemates.
Especially working class Nigerians. They're super active on Facebook. I think you make, and Lekon had that on lock. Lock. You know, so I don't know how much attention they pay to Facebook. Ovia, can you log off? Thank you. I don't know how much particular attention they pay to Facebook, but organically the boy was able to just lock it down on there, and you know, it was good to see. Like I was saying, Martagu says going forward a PR squad is very necessary, including influencers. Ayo says too much. Akoni was the best BB Naija influencer. Man rallied icons until the end. Yes, I agree with you on that one. Oluwa on guard. CCSA says Afro 7, that's me. Nobody said and has ever said you will pay to promote a contestant. That's not true. Your tweets were the bridge between R&D to intellectual Twitter. That is the influence we're talking about. Okay, that's fair. And I don't think this is the right platform for me to start defending myself or to start addressing whatever. But yes, I have been accused of being paid on the timeline or in my inbox because my DMs are open by several viewers. And, you know, it's okay. If you have a question, you can ask me. If I'm working for a housemate, I'll work for them on my full chest. There'll be no doubt.
Your full chest.
I have been offered money before and turned it down because there was no point. I was already supporting a housemate, so your money was gonna do nothing. Do you understand? I take your point about me being a bridge between R&D to intellectual Twitter. I'm not certain that I'm intellectual, but whatever. I take your point on that. But if you also understand this season, in terms of the other side of Twitter, that's not R&D. This is the biggest season for them. They were all drawn to the show. So I'm not certain how much they needed my voice in particular to amplify the show. Perhaps my voice amplifies the show organically. I don't know. But one thing you must remember is when I tell you that I really tweet for myself, I really tweet for myself. So maybe that's naive of me, but I really do. Okay, but thank you for listening in. I noticed that you're a first-time listener. Ms. Martagu says, what do you guys think about the incursion of family members to the narrative this year? I think it was a bad thing, personally. What do you think, Ife?
Can you say that again?
What do you think about the incursion of family members into the narratives this year?
Oh, yeah, I agree with you. I don't think it was a good idea, really. You know, I think a lot of these things sort of change, interferes too much, I think, with how organic the show is supposed to be.
I think my concerns is just how much more it opens them to attacks. Like, for example, Ozo's sister's #1 video that she did was amazing. And I think what blunted the effect of that video was Ozo's own behavior in the house. But in terms of rallying votes for him, it was amazing. And I wish she stopped there. Do you understand? But then she kept on with it. And also,
yes.
And also the happy birthday video from V's family member really hurt me. Not because of the video, but because the way people now grab memes off the video of her family members and then made reference to the video of her family members when criticizing
for everything she did. Yes,
I didn't like that at all. I didn't like that.
So it definitely affected the game, or like the housemates game. Do you understand what I mean? Because after Ozo's sister came the second time to make the long video trying to excuse Ozo's behavior, you know, there was a lot of attack on her. There was a lot of attack. So it was really mostly counterproductive because Ozo can't hear you. also content, even if you try to tell us, oh, this is this or this is that, and then also goes back and does in fact, even adds, like some adds extra to what he'd been doing.
Add ginger.
Do you understand? It's like you they talk one step, you don't really go to 20. Do you understand? So it sort of made it so much worse. So that's what I'm saying, that it sort of, I mean, I think it does more harm than good as far as I'm concerned. As much as possible, because you're not a public figure, as much as possible, I think family members can just do without, putting themselves out there too much. Because I mean, like, I know that it hurts. I know that, you want to jump and defend your brother, but you see, you're better off not doing that sometimes.
Yeah. And then you also had Prince's sister offering commentary on his potential love life and, being sort of shady towards another woman in the house. Like, it's not a good look. It's actually not a good look. I think you should try as much as possible to keep your family out of this, because this show is entertaining, but it can also be heartbreaking with the things that people say to you sometimes. They forget that you have feelings. They will go in on you. They won't care about you or your family member on the show. They will go in on you. So if you can protect yourself and protect your loved ones by not having them directly be involved in the show, I think it's only a good thing personally. Do you have any comments to take from YouTube before we move to our final topic?
Yes. Katrina's Booty says, the influencer and PR thing is here to stay, but in my opinion, it detracts from the show being organic, spinning narratives, creating enmity, etc., and not repping the housemates, negligences, and elites. They are important. Just Being Seven says they are important because in BBN, the first week is very key. Because she's using a lot of abbreviations that I can't translate. And therefore, getting a rallying cry via influencers is key. There is no going back. And it did happen. We see the paid conversations.
Okay.
And so that's to try to clear up our initial confusion about. So he said he did. He got the key on step 3. The game then aligned for him, and he landed on the chest, and it moved him 8 steps further. There was nothing in the box. So apparently, when you land on the chest, it propels you to like 8 steps further. So I think that kind of clears that up.
Okay, thank you very, very much for that.
Oh, wait. There's one. Hold on. I love Ify today. It's about me, so yeah, gotta listen. Smiley. Smiley and laughing throughout with the pigeon too. I love it. Thank you, Katrina's Booty.
Thank you, Katrina's Booty. All right, so let's just do 2 before we hit the final topic. Oh, we've been going for a while. Before we hit the final topic, let's just do two quick highlights of the show, like your favorite moments of the show. 2 quick ones from you, 2 quick ones from me. One of my favorite.
Does Katrina's Booty? Sorry.
Highlights.
Real quick, does Katrina's Booty have an Instagram?
Katrina's Booty is diamond encrusted.
Does she have an Instagram?
Who's asking?
A friend is asking.
Asking for a friend of a friend.
A friend of a friend. So let's find out. Katrina, drop your ID.
Buzz off.
Okay.
OVA, buzz off. So two favorite moments of the show for me. I think one was let me see. Oh, one of my favorite things is the friendship between V and Lekon. I don't know that V in terms of the words that he needed when he was down. She said all the right words for him, to him rather. But I think having a friend that he was completely sure of, and she was also completely sure of, really, really helped both their games. I mean, on the outside, you can see what it did for V, but in the house, it helped to stabilize Lekon a lot. So I think that's one of my favorite highlights of the show. The second one would be... No, you give me one, and whilst I think of my second one.
My one of my favorite highlights of the show would be Erica's winning of the second time she won the head of house position.
Oh, that was beautiful.
That was like, you could see this girl. It seemed like it was a matter of life and death. Like, my life depends on this thing, and I had to get it by all means. And then Waya's reaction as well to that win was just
That's
amazing,
what I loved
amazing,
so
amazing.
Much.
Yes, that was my absolute favorite highlight of the show.
I don't think I saw a happier housemate this season than when Erica won that head of house and Wire. Oh my god,
it was ecstatic. Like he was
pure
so happy,
joy.
Pure joy. You could tell, like he really wanted the same for this girl.
It was amazing.
It was amazing.
It was absolutely amazing. One of my other highlights is the unlikely dance partnership between Lekon between Nengi and Lekon. You see Nengi's booty. Nengi is not a small woman. I think she's like 5'7", maybe about the same height as Lekon, but her body is bigger than his. You know, he's quite a slim man. And you see her booty, and he will now be struggling to handle it, to position himself, but somehow he will still pace himself there. It was something to look forward to every Saturday.
Another highlight of the show for me this season would be, as annoying as it was, will be this Nengi and Ozo situation. Now, let me tell you why it's interesting for me. Let me tell you why it was a highlight. Okay. So it was a typical case of Connie man die, Connie man bury him. Oh. Because you see, when Nengi started the whole thing with Ozo, you know, she was being overly flirtatious. She really wanted to get this guy's attention.
She was bringing the bottle, bringing the
bottle, bringing it. Say, come on, come my boy, get in, enter. Next thing, Ozo now enter the bottle. Nengi cocked the bottle. But Nengi thought that she would cock the bottle and go about her business. Guess what happened? The content of that bottle spilled over and sucked her into the bottle. So they were both trapped in that bottle, and she didn't know how to escape that bottle.
Honestly, Baba built a perimeter fence around the bottle.
Perimeter fence around the bottle. All of us, we die here. So then he clearly bit off more than she could chew. With the whole other thing, because you know she just wanted to just let me get you, then okay, get a few other people, you know, and then keep it moving. No, but the guy said, you know what, we die here. Built a fence, spun his web, trapped her inside it, and that was like pure proper entanglement. So Nengi, that's so Nengi they inside there. By the side of the bottle, they robbed the bottle from the beginning of the show to the end of the show.
Honestly,
what she meant for Cruz, ended up as
she cruised her own self now.
She cruised herself joined. So now we to Connie man die, Connie man bury him. So yeah, that was another absolute highlight for me this season. It was actually quite interesting and fun to see.
It was. Oluwan God says Venita was embarrassing this season. It hurts that I have to say this. Well, she was embarrassing last season. I totally agree. She was embarrassing last season as well, but hey.
Oh, wait. Someone pointed out something, and I'm going to read it. It's from YouTube, but it's from Twitter, by the way. So I'm just going to read it. Timmy says, my highlights would be, how can we forget when Ozo hit 30 that first time in the HOH game?
Oh, and he shouted.
Oh, my goodness. That
was beautiful.
That was the first time the guy, I'm like, oh, wow, Ozo, so you get this kind of thing inside your body like this, you know, it was
watching him shout like that. It was
amazing. I had goosebumps, you know, just watching him.
It was absolutely beautiful. Also, one of the first times I got tears in my eyes at the show was the first time Lekon's song Hip Hop Hooray was played. And Erica's face, the pride, the absolute pride on her face, like my friend's song.
Yeah,
you know,
she was so happy. It was pure joy. You could see.
It was absolutely amazing. Honestly speaking, it was absolutely amazing.
Okay, on YouTube, Felicia Adela Khan says, one of my highlights was the fight between Wathoni and Erica, and how Kid handled both Erica and the housemates, getting them together to drink and gist after the fight.
Yeah.
That was also really like nice to see. Yeah.
And Ayo says, if he's ozone analysis just to make me roll on the floor. honestly. You know. So let's move on to the final topic for today and for the season. And it is our housemates of the week. I asked you guys to earlier submit to us your housemates of the week, and one listener complied. You know, I love when a listener complies and joins in the fun. And it be things. She, her says, Prince is my favorite. I feel like he was misunderstood because he didn't give off a lot about himself, but the little he did give was enough for me. I understand that was because of his upbringing, that he had to always strive to be the best, which explains his competitive spirit. Yeah. I mean, everybody knows I love me some Oriade, so that's fine. And thank you for sending in your contribution. So Ify, I want you to start. Who was your absolute, you can choose one or two. But who was your absolute favorite housemate of the season for you?
I'm coming. Hold on. Okay, so my housemate of the season has to be. So yes, I'm choosing two. That would be Erica and Dorothy.
Okay.
So for Erica, I think that she brought a lot of content, to the show. Like she created a lot of talking points on the show, even after her eviction. I mean, but then in terms of her personality, she had such a lovable. Like Erica is one person that was so easy to love. Like it was just easy to like her. She doesn't even have to be your favorite or anything. But like it was just so easy to. She has such a likable personality. So that was obviously one of the first things that drew me to her. She's effortlessly beautiful. And but she's warm, she's so warm and she's kind and she is as free as a bird. She also had very high entertainment value. I mean, of course, by her contact in the house, she wasn't afraid to show herself. She wasn't afraid to be herself. It didn't matter to her who was looking. She was going to do exactly what she wanted to do. What I didn't quite. I mean, of course, they all have their sides, but what I didn't quite like was that desperate need to be liked by everybody. Of course, everybody can't like you, but overall, I think she was a spectacular housemate to Neil. I think she was a spectacular housemate. I think that and her thing with Kidwire also was content for days on Twitter. A lot of people said it's awakened their romance or whatever the hell it is that they were doing. But like and of course, I mean, like with how much she brought to the show, yes, I think that she was definitely my housemate of the season. And then Dorothy as well. I liked how Dorothy sort of, used something that was meant for ill and used it for good to her advantage. For instance.
Oh yeah. Before you go on, we promised the listeners that we would go back to how production also helped Dorothy.
Yeah, so I mean that's what I'm trying to say now. So like I mean that was also part of it. Okay, she stood up for me because I mean at that age she's 24, not young obviously because there were people who are younger than her in the house, but then at 24 being able to be in charge of her emotions in that way, not falling apart, when things didn't, like when things weren't working as she liked. Like I mean I imagine that whole dozone thing was very frustrating for her. Every week after week, and now only your name did they call for something when no concern you. Do you understand? So I really, really liked how she handled that. But then, in between, there was a time when Dorothy became so rude to Ozo. It was just unbelievable. And the time when, she kind of like said unkind things about Anengi to Ozo, But then, you see, what saved her was like, that's what we also missed to talk about when, the whole thing happened, when Ibuka said something that she didn't say. So it just kind of jolted her back to reality, like, yo, they're watching me, obviously watching me, and so it kind of like gave her like a reality check I need to check myself, in as much as it kind of made her a bit with like back into her shell and all of that, but then it also saved her game because she was now more deliberate about showing the side of her that we all eventually fell in love with.
Yes. Yes.
So yes, I think that's something that was meant for good. So yeah, I just liked how she turned her lemons into lemonade and she made something beautiful out of it. So she didn't let that, bring her down or keep her down or anything. So yes, Dorothy is my another favorite housemate this season.
Okay,
that stood out for me.
I have two. I'm gonna talk about the first one, in no particular order, but for very, very different reasons. In no particular order. The first housemate I want to talk about is Ozo Emina Joseph Chuku. And his fans are going to be surprised because they are convinced that I hate his guts. I don't. I really, really like Ozo. Okay. Ozo alarmed me. I'll get to that, but I really liked him. I'm such a family-oriented person. I'm the first of 5. And if you meet me within like 3 conversations, I'm talking about my sisters. One sister in particular, just the way he has a particular sister, Dalu, that he talked about a lot. I'm talking about my sisters like 3 minutes into any conversation. So that drew me to him instantly. And he was really kind, to other housemates. He was controlled to a large extent. And also to watch him grow, like to watch him grasp for the idea of being cool. He came at the house, this very buttoned up boy. He gave us some illusions of cool when he sang, I want to put you in 70 positions and all that. But as soon as he danced, we all knew this boy is not cool, So to see him grappling with a sense of bigger a more expressive masculinity in the way he dressed, in the way he tried to regale the housemates with stories of his escapades in Ukraine that I didn't quite believe, but that I found really endearing about him. So like, and to watch him grow during the weeks, it was, so that's why the Nengi thing frustrated me to no end. And to be fair and honest, he crossed the line on several occasions. He crossed the line of letting the housemates enjoy their peace. He crossed the line of listening to our housemates and respecting them. Yes, I know Nengi also gave him particular signals, but to me, those things indicated to me that he just needs a more active social life, a more active social group. He needs to mix in with other people outside of his own family. But the obvious love for his family that he carried with him throughout the show, it was annoying because he kept repeating the same stories again and again. But see, at his core, his family is his life. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I just hope and pray for him that now with this newfound fame and so many women on his case, so many men wanting to be next to him, he realizes that this world, he's a young man, is to be lived. Trying to impress your pops is good, but also you must find your own footing in life. You're your own man. You have so much going for you. You have to allow yourself to be vulnerable, but also you have to be circumspect with the way you let out your emotions, because it can be used against you. And also you can find yourself suffocating someone with your emotions, even as you're just being yourself. But I really like that man, and I really, really wish and hope the best for him. So the second housemate that I'm going to choose is Victoria Medese. She, to me, since I have been watching Big Brother, now this is going to sound wild to a lot of you, but if I had to choose two housemates, like they gave me, choose two housemates for the show. One would be a hero, one might be perceived as an anti-hero. I'm choosing Victoria. The reason is I'm not fond of her, let's not get it twisted, and I think if you read my tweets, that much is apparent to you. But in terms of a housemate who understood what
Tala, hold on 1 second. You sounded very distant. I don't know what's going on.
I do now still.
No, that's better? Perfect now.
Okay.
Yes, much better.
In terms of a housemate who understood why she was in a house, but also had no qualms about being her complete, unfiltered self in that house, you don't get better than Victoria. Now, her biggest missteps was being so cold and unfeeling. And I've said this time and time and time and time again. But see, where Biggie failed to probe the housemates and let us understand their psyche and what informed their decisions of making certain steps in the house, Victoria offered those reasons. V offered those reasons in the diary room that let you know what she was thinking, even if you agreed or not. She went in the diary room. She gave very clear reasons for everything she was asked and everything she did. Her relationship with her housemates was fractious, but she was an interesting housemate. She kept us talking over the course of her stay in the house. She's a beautiful woman. She's talented. She's engaging, but also she's careless with words. But that again might be a function of youth. It might be the suspicious nature of a certain kind of religious situation that she was brought up in, because somehow you in that religion you're sort of taught to like always look for an enemy, and that was apparent in the way she talked about situations in the house. But in terms of entertainment, this woman had in oodles, and she for me was a consummate reality TV star, and she is my overall BB Naija season 5 lockdown housemates. I wish her growth. I wish her some more kindness. I hope she allows people into her heart without being so suspicious of them, and I wish her success with whatever she wants to do. The show's over. I judged her according to her behavior whilst the show was on. I called it as I saw it, for good or ill, I called it as I saw it. But she definitely is my overall. I know I said in no particular order, but I've changed my mind. She is my overall BB Naija season 5 housemate of the week. Thank you very much.
Thanks be to God.
Amen.
So I have a lot of compliant listeners on YouTube. So I don't know where you're getting that. If your own listeners are not complying, please, we have compliant people here. So I have a lot of comments from YouTube, people saying who their faves were and why. So I'll just take a few of those comments.
Go on.
As you are reading them, can I share mine?
Go on.
Go ahead.
So my own favorite housemate of the season has to be Kidwaya. And in particular, the reason why I like Kidwaya is the fact that apart from the fact that he was pretty chill, you know, he was a real housemate to everybody. He wasn't doing any of all that fake stuff. I like the fact that he didn't inherit anybody's beef, or at least I didn't get that vibe of him. He could have easily fought Lakon, right, because of Erica. But my guy was still chopping Indomie, everything, even after the incident. Personally, I like that. You know, so I just like the fact, you know how a lot of people just tend to adopt beef just because, hey, this girl who I like, they fight you. So, and you know, it could have been a triangle, but he didn't even see any of that. He didn't look at Lakon as his adversary. None of that. He kept very good positive energy for the most part. You know, he was friends with Nengi, friends with as many people as possible. That's my guy. So, as much as I love Neo because Neo is from my area, Kidwire is my housemate of the season.
Fair enough, guy.
Thank you, Ovie.
Okay, so
please. Meanwhile, Ovie, I'm sorry, Katrina's booty is calling you, so you better go answer that call.
Is she calling me? Tell her to hit me up.
She's calling you now. It's not that it's Ovie.
What did she say? Katrina's booty.
She just called your name. I don't
diamond
know.
encrusted. What it do?
Something.
Hit me up.
Take it offline.
Hit me up.
Bye. Okay, so Felicia Adelicon said, one of my highlights was the fight between Wathoni and Erica, and how. Oh, sorry, I took that up already. So I'm so sorry about that. Opa Lua Onoji said, her highlights would be the impromptu drama from the housemates after the Indomie task.
Oh yeah, how did we forget
that? Was brilliant.
That was excellent. I loved it so much. Shame on Biggie for not being able to come up with something to match that. That was brilliant.
Yes, and then Katrina's Booty said, one of my housemates of the season was Tricky T. Diplomacy and tact is underrated in this game. Not every day react and verbalize, sometimes common sense, and don't inherit battles. I completely agree with you. Victor Shabangu from South Africa says, wow, I really love this live chat. This is Victor from South Africa. Hi, Victor. And she also said, Katrina also says, Prince was my housemate of the season. Competition is not dirty, and I'm glad he stuck with it despite negativity from some of the housemates.
Amen.
Luani Femi says, a big low light for me this season was watching Lakon and Erica's friendship go down the drain. They had such a beautiful friendship at the start. Yeah, we all saw that too. Afoke Owojeri says, Neo was my favorite housemate this season. He lifted the mood in the house. He was always happy with everyone. And I think I'll take one last one. Mosumola Adiat says, V is my favorite housemate. I love how strong-willed she is. She said things as they were, and it's something I really admire. To be honest, I see myself in her. She knows what she wants and stand by it. So I'm sorry we can't take all the comments because they just keep coming in, and I think we just have to keep move on now.
Let me take about 4 from Twitter. Tumi says her favorite housemate will be Nengi, and she came to like her after the fight with Lucy because it really reset her head and her game. Her most striking housemates would be V and Dorothy. Ada says, I really love Ifya GK's voice. So calming and soothing. I think I think I have said that before. Afro 7's voice is nice too. Okay. Her voice has more empathy than her tweets. So much love to you two. I'm full of empathy. Well, now that you've heard my voice, when you read my tweets, just imagine it's my voice saying them. You know, I try to be fair, I try to be analytical, and I try to give the housemates the good and ill. You know,
Tola, they are always praising your voice. The one time they're praising Ify's voice, now you still want to collect small shine. Now what for you?
They still praise the voice inside now.
They still praise their own small, but she was still doing when she mentioned and now Tola.
Wow. Okay. Ifeoluwa Aduke Tamara Priye says, my overall housemate of the season is V. And as Ebuka rightly said, she was a great content provider. I agree with that 100%. And in terms of the competitiveness, Tumi says Nengi was equally competitive, and it may not look it, but she took those tasks and games very seriously. I
totally agree with you, Tumi.
100%. All right, so we've come to the end of our topics, and the end of the show. I would like to say a big shout out to the R&D. I think this season marked an improvement on all the last season, especially from the dirtiness of last season. It was really beautiful to get better from where we were. by God's grace, next year will be even better. The housemates this season made it easier, You guys are great. The engagement on our radio show is really encouraging. Hopefully, we stay in good health and good strength, and we are able to replicate this next season. Please take care of yourselves. Thank you so much. And also remember what we said at the beginning of the show. Please, please, please be kind to these housemates. Now that they're out of the house. It's hard. It's super hard. And these are corona times. Some of them might not get deals and they'll be feeling sad because they'll be like, I'll be housemates too now. Why nothing is coming my way? Please don't rub it in for them because it can really have a terrible effect on them psychologically. Let's try to be kind to them. They entertained us. Now is their time for their own things. They don't owe us anything. We can support them if we want to, but they don't owe us anything. They don't owe us a live. They don't owe us a relationship. They don't owe us any sponsorship or ambassadorships. Please just be kind. Think of it if it was you or your family member. At least maybe that will help. Do you have any
yes.
words?
Now I was reading the parting shots on YouTube. Shout out to Afro and Ify. You guys really held it down. You guys should start a podcast or something.
Thank you.
Just being seven says thank you. Thank you. Let's chat next season. This is nice. Peace be. Katrina's Biddy said, well done, ladies. See you all next year. Long live the R&D.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been amazing hanging with you guys. The criticism, the love, the everything, and your comments as well. It's really made for a really robust show. We've had fun. It's not been easy. That there were Tuesdays when we were mad busy. In fact, I think I've done one show when I was literally in traffic, and I had to stop somewhere to quickly get the show going, just to give us something for the day, So I think it's been amazing. So to everybody who has contributed one way or another to the show, we say thank you very much for sticking with us. So see you again next season, God willing.
I'm just going to take one last comment from Sauda.
Oh, yes.
Sauda has been a really, really good listener and engager of myself during the course of the season. She says, if there was an all-star season, which two housemates would you want back? I would go with Bam Bam and V. You?
I'll go with Bam Bam and Toby.
Excellent. I don't think Toby would agree to it, Charlotte.
Yeah, but those would be my two housemates, because don't worry, I don't want to say what I want to say, but yeah, let's leave it. But yeah, those would be my two.
That's fine. Ebeleme says, great show. Thanks, guys. Thank you so much for your constant support and listening every week, Ebeleme. It's much appreciated. Tumi says, I love the show. Hope you keep this going. It's been absolutely amazing. Thank you both, Afro and Ify. Thank you to me for your smart and engaging comments. We really love that you tune in. Hot Yam Cheek says, thank you, Afro 7 and Ify, for your commentary this season. Shout out to you both. BB Naija LDBD. Yes. Thank you, Faxi. You have been amazing. You are one of my favorite R&D members. Just putting that out there. I have some absolute favorites. I'd like to give them a quick shout out. Shout out to Chioma. That's Nello's daughter. Shout out to Unafi. Shout out to Koforola. Shout out to Just Being Bokola. Shout out to Saudat. Shout out to Tumi. Shout out to my Kenyan friend. We didn't see eye to eye this season, but Supremely won. You're dope. Shout out to you. Shout out to Jano C16. You guys, you make this R&D thing really bearable, really interesting, really engaging. And I love that you do.
Shout out to Matt Ago. She was new on the show. This was the first time ever watching the show. And she was so engaging.
Shout out to her.
She's been on the show from day one. So yes, thank you very much for coming on the show and for being a perfect R&D recruit.
Amen. Shout out to her. She was really dope. It was her first rodeo. Hopefully she does it again. But overall, man, you guys have been dope. Shout out to those who understood. Shout out to those who didn't understand but still didn't resort to silly language and silly words.
Oh yes, and for everybody who kept it real and respectful exchanges, thank you so much. It makes for a healthier and better space to have conversations, because we can't all keep going at each other and calling names at the first at the slightest misunderstanding or disagreement. We don't always have to have the same opinions, but I think what makes us adults and what makes us stand out is being able to, regardless of what side we stand on, being able to have respectful engagements with each other and just be civil and kind.
Yep. I know they call us rabid in debates, but there ain't nothing rabid in debates about most of the ladies.
Not at all.
All of the ladies that me have talked about, we are R&D. We'll find a different meaning for the R&D next season, but we are R&D. I am proud to be R&D. I'm proud to share this passion with all of you guys, and we will catch you next season. God keep you and yours. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Thank you, Ify, for agreeing to do this with me. Thank you, Not Just Okay, for hosting us. We'll catch you guys another time. Peace.
Hey, OVA.
Oh, thank you, OVA. Thank you, OVA, so very, like, for your interludes. They're funny, they're engaging.
I'm right here.
You're dope.
I was just trying to make
you.
sure you guys
Yes.
had all your shine. Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, our housemates of the season. Has the poll closed?
Okay, so here's the thing. So the poll was supposed to run for about...
close.
Yeah, it was supposed to run for like 40 minutes or so, but then I chose 1 day and 40 minutes, so it's still just running. But Lakon ran away with it. However, Erica's people just...
Lakon had 30%.
Yeah, I think Nengo was at 29. At the time we were supposed to end it, it was Lakon first.
OVA, check again. Just check again.
No, I know. Erica's people have hijacked the poll, but like I said, I made the mistake and let it go.
No, how can you say that? Just tell us what the
Okay, you guys should check it.
Is as at right now.
Right now,
I can't see it.
Go to Not Just Okay and the pinned post.
It's not hijacking, because when the icons show up, it's not. You don't call it hijacking. So why is it hijacking?
Okay, so that would be
no. Shout out to Erica's fans. So please, what I meant
because we'll do something today.
No, what I meant was that the poll was meant
you can now excuse us.
The poll was meant to run for a certain period, but okay.
We are aware.
As it stands right now,
right now, fourth place is Ozol with 15%. And then we have Lakon. We have Nengi at 23%. We have a close third. We have a close second, which is Lakon at 24%. And we have a winner. So the housemates of the season, based on your votes, all 3,141 of them, is Erica at 38%.
So I don't agree with that. The housemates of the season...
You don't have to agree. You don't have to agree with that,
The housemates of the season as of today, because the polls haven't closed, is Erica at 38%. The final
the show has ended.
Wait, the final results to be publicized by Not Just Okay tomorrow, and then we'll know the official BB Naija lockdown breakdown housemate tomorrow when the polls close. I personally voted for Nengi. I know that's weird because Ozol's there, but I voted for Nengi. So tomorrow we will know the final results of the poll.
That sounds fair.
So for the purpose of the end of the show,
that sounds fair.
There's nothing fair about that. You know why? Because that was an error. You can't now change what's an error. Like nobody has got like 1 hour. The show has ended, by the way. So yes, as of the time the show ended, the winner, who was the favorite housemate of the season, was Erica at 38%. It's unfair what you guys are doing. I not go agree. Let's scatter everything right now.
Please continue voting, and tomorrow, Not Just Okay will announce your favorite housemate of the season. Thank you very much. Take care of yourself and each other, and we will see you next season, God willing. Peace.
Good night.
Bad guy.
Fierce Nation.
Lakon.
Vibe.
Hey, yo, Lakon.
Scanning. Sir.
What if you wave to see?
Study some for the man them.
Oja.
Sori pe báyìí, ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ ń bá mi sọ̀rọ̀. Àwọn eruku yapa jápa tó bá mú ẹ kọ̀rọ̀. Ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ ń wá mi, wọ́n fẹ́ bá mi sọ̀rọ̀. Tán bá bá mi, tán bá bá mi sọ̀rọ̀. Àwa fierce. Àwa fierce. Àwa fierce. Àwa fierce. Our fierce, God, don't worry. Our fierce, God, don't worry. Our fierce, God, don't worry. Our fierce, God, don't worry.
So me, I look like the type of guy you could talk to. Don't let me fool you. God body, so I don't like the death.
You're listening to the BB Naija Lockdown Breakdown on Not Just Okay Radio.